All right, how are Zoomers going to stretch that travel dollar for a memorable trip? Doug, from your experience, I mean, the prices are up, what, about 30% anyway?
Yes. One of the biggest tips I have for people who are trying to save a little bit of money is to research everything in advance. The more legwork you do before you actually leave the house, the better off you'll be because you won't waste time or money once you get to where you're going.
I have to confess, that's something some people really enjoy. I have friends who are great on it. And, generally I say, it can be worth paying somebody to do that for you. I don't have the time or the interest in doing that much of it.
Well, I completely agree. I say this is when you hire a travel advisor. This is their job. You wouldn't try to plumb yourself. You hire a plumber because they're really good at it. So you want to hire a travel advisor who literally that is their job. And there are also insurances that come with a travel advisor as well. So I always recommend that.
Yes, insurance is a critical part of your vacation planning process. It needs to be budgeted as part of your vacation costs. There are many ways of looking at it, so your research and knowing what you require is very important. And speaking to the right people, there is a lot of online platforms as well, but at CAA we have people that you can speak to through our call centers or through our stores as well. And we can walk you through all the different products to make sure that you're financially protected as well as personally your well-being is protected.
Is it more expensive for someone with a disability?
It can be. So with a disability, whether it's a chronic health condition, a long-term mobility impairment, always read the fine print. It's that reassurance you need because if something happens with a pre-existing condition, sometimes it's wiped out. So whether you're getting your insurance through your bank or anybody else, it's always so critical to read that fine print. And if you have a mobility impairment, one of the biggest issues is what if my mobility device, wheelchair, walker, cane gets broken through travel? Be reassured, airlines are required to replace it at the same level of what may have been broken, or have it fixed.
So where can you cut costs? We get kind of nickel and dime with everything, and I think that what people need to know is how much is this trip going to cost altogether?
Well, one of the things that I like to look at is what you're going to eat. So
I love to look at that.
It's nice to go to the fancy restaurants all the time, but you don't have to. You can actually, especially in some of the more countries that are known for their culinary expertise, you could eat off the street. The food trucks are great in a lot of different places and so delicious, right? And that said, if you are going to sit in a proper restaurant, don't sit in the touristy areas. But never go to a restaurant where there's someone out front with a menu trying to get you to come in the door. Always step away, because then the prices will go down and the food will probably be better as well.
There's also issues. I mean, there are places in the world and the stuff from the food trucks looks amazing, but you kind of don't know if that's going to give you
you go where the locals are eating, and where there's lots of activity, so you know that everything's fresh and that it's reputable.
Right, but is the water good?
That's where the research comes in, right?
Yes.
So ahead of time, you'll know, wait, do I need to be buying some water while I'm there? Can I just turn on the tap? You'll know which areas are very, very popular, which areas are less popular because you've done all of that research. And that helps with accessibility as well. Even going to a resort, somewhere like that, do they have elevators between floors,
Absolutely.
And do they have, stairs down to the restaurant, things like that. And that's where your research comes in.
What are your tips?
I like to live like the locals do, so of course avoiding those tourist traps and just going where you see all of the locals eating out of and shopping and having entertainment. I like to go and experience more authentic experiences and going off the beaten path. So booking locally as well for any tours that you want to do in the destination that you're at, that's like what me and my family love to do. And we come back with such great memories.
Right, as opposed to booking an excursion as part of a trip in US dollars or whatever.
Yeah, and I mean, when you book locally, you're paying a lot less than you would if you're doing it in advance. Sometimes where you're staying, you can have that organized already for you. And I do that every time. I talk to the first person I see and I ask them, what tours can I check out when I'm here?
Which brings me to the question of a lot of these all-inclusive resorts. And I think people use those when they just need a break. And it's not really about seeing the place, it's more about the break.
Yeah.
So are they worth it or are they not?
There's definitely a time and place for the all-inclusive, and you don't have to go all the time. You don't even have to go every year. But if you just want the sun and the sand and a book and someone bringing you drinks, it's perfect, really.
And it's great for group travel, right? No
Yes.
one's fighting over the bill.
Yeah.
No one's saying, I drank more than you
Yeah.
drank, you know,
Oh,
things
dear.
like that. People have their own rooms, they have their own space, but you
Yes.
can also meet up together. And I think for multi-generational travel, when you've got people coming from lots of different destinations as well.
With different interests.
With different interests,
Yeah.
exactly. It's a really great catch-all.
Okay, we need to take a short break. We'll be right back with more of the Zoomer.